There is a liquid that costs under $2 to mix at home. One injection into any tire, car, truck, motorcycle, bicycle, and that tire will never go flat again. Not a can of Fix-A-Flat that works once, leaves a chemical mess inside your rim, and voids your warranty the moment you use it. Not a $200 nitrogen fill that every dealership upsells you on each service visit. Not an $80 road hazard plan that still leaves you stranded on the highway at midnight waiting for a tow truck charging $150 just to show up. This liquid seals every puncture the moment it happens, automatically, while you are still driving. A nail enters your tread at 65 miles per hour, sealed before your tire pressure drops a single PSI. A screw buries into your sidewall on a gravel road, plugged within seconds by a process requiring zero action from you. Long-haul trucking companies used this formula on entire fleets throughout the 1940s to eliminate blowouts on cross-country routes. Military logistics units injected it into vehicle tires before deploying into combat zones where stopping to change a tire meant getting killed. Then the $100 billion tire industry realized what this liquid was doing to their replacement revenue, and it vanished from every consumer guide, every automotive handbook, and every dealership recommendation sheet their lobbying money could reach. This is the story of the $2 tire formula the industry buried for 60 years. And the reason your grandfather never once paid for roadside assistance in his life. Welcome to Lost Skills. This is where we open the vaults they locked shut. Subscribe and hit the bell right now. In 1888, Scottish veterinarian John Boyd Dunlop wrapped his son's tricycle wheels in rubber tubing filled with air. He had invented the pneumatic tire. That single invention has carried every vehicle on Earth for over 130 years, but it had one fundamental vulnerability every engineer after him recognized immediately. The rubber envelope could be punctured. Flat tires were so common in those early decades that drivers carried multiple spare tubes and expected to change tires twice on any journey longer than 50 miles. In 1947, a mechanical engineer named Edward Hours was working for a municipal bus depot in Chicago. His assignment was simple: reduce the fleet's tire maintenance costs, running 23% over budget every year from puncture repairs and blowout replacements. Hours began injecting liquid sealant compounds directly into the tire cavity. The concept was straightforward. Fill the airspace inside the tire with a liquid carrying fine, fibrous particles. Any puncture creates an escape path for pressurized air. That escaping air carries the suspended particles toward the breach. The particles accumulate, interlock, and form a flexible plug that seals the hole while the tire remains fully inflated and in motion. Fleet maintenance records from the Chicago depot documented a 78% reduction in puncture-related downtime within the first year. The formula spread through trucking companies in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Texas throughout the early 1950s. By 1955, military vehicle maintenance protocols had incorporated sealant treatments into standard pre-deployment tire preparation. Then the consumer tire market intervened. The post-war American automobile boom had created an enormously profitable replacement tire market. The major manufacturers, Goodyear, Firestone, B.F. Goodrich, had built their entire business model around replacement frequency. A tire sealant that eliminated punctures and extended tire life by years was not an innovation to embrace. It was a threat to neutralize. By 1960, liquid sealant technology had been quietly removed from every consumer automotive publication. Dealerships trained service advisors to warn customers that aftermarket tire treatments voided manufacturer warranties. The formula that saved an entire city bus fleet disappeared from public knowledge in less than a decade, not because it failed, because it worked exactly as well as the industry feared. The United States tire market generated $47 billion in 2023. Americans purchased 290 million replacement tires every year. Roadside assistance calls related to flat tires cost drivers an estimated $3.2 billion annually in service fees and towing charges. The four largest tire companies, Bridgestone, Michelin, Goodyear, Continental, control over 60% of global tire sales. A $2 liquid that prevents punctures permanently does not compete with their products. It eliminates the need for them entirely, which is precisely why this formula has never appeared in a single television commercial, a single dealership service menu, or a single automotive magazine in the past 60 years. In 1989, the Transportation Research Board published a study documenting that tires treated with fiber suspension sealants showed a 91% reduction in pressure loss from tread punctures up to 6 millimeters in diameter. Peer-reviewed. Published, never referenced in a single consumer tire publication in the 35 years since. Think carefully about what that silence means. The formula has three components working as one integrated system. The first is a fibrous suspension agent. Food-grade glycerin serves as the carrier fluid, and shredded latex from standard rubber gloves provides the fibrous particulate. Glycerin remains fluid across the full temperature range of a passenger tire, from minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit in extreme cold to over 150 degrees inside a tire at highway speed in summer. The second component is a vulcanizing agent. Standard rubber cement from any hardware store provides sufficient chemistry to bond rubber particles to each other and to the tire liner under compression. The third is distilled water, which controls viscosity and ensures even distribution as the wheel rotates. When a puncture occurs, pressurized air carries all three components to the breach simultaneously. The vulcanizing agent activates under compression and bonds the particles into a permanent flexible plug. Within 2 to 4 wheel rotations, a fraction of a second at any speed, the puncture is sealed. I need to be honest about what this formula cannot do. It is highly effective against tread punctures from nails, screws, and road debris up to 1/4 inch in diameter, roughly 85% of all flat tire incidents. It is not effective against sidewall blowouts from impact damage, structural failure from age, or valve stem failures. If your tire is older than 6 years or showing sidewall cracking, you need a new tire. No sealant addresses underlying structural problems. Here is exactly what you need. Total cost under $2 per tire. Food-grade glycerin from any pharmacy, approximately $4 for a bottle treating 6 to 8 tires. Standard rubber cement from any hardware store, under $3. Distilled water, 1-gallon jug, under $1.50. 1 pair of natural latex rubber gloves, under $1. You will also need a tire valve core removal tool from any auto parts store, $3 to $5, and a large syringe or turkey baster for injection. Step 1. In a clean jar, combine 4 ounces of food-grade glycerin, 2 ounces of distilled water, and 1 tablespoon of rubber cement. Cut 1 rubber glove into the finest strips possible, then into tiny pieces no larger than a grain of rice. Add the pieces to the solution and stir vigorously for 60 seconds until fully blended. Step 2. Remove the wheel from the vehicle and lay it flat. Remove the valve core using your tool and keep it safe. Step 3. Draw the full mixture into your syringe and inject it slowly into the tire cavity through the valve stem. Step 4. Reinstall the valve core. Finger tight plus a quarter turn. Step 5. Inflate to the recommended PSI found on the sticker inside your driver's side door jamb, not the number on the tire sidewall. Step 6. Rotate the wheel by hand for 30 full rotations to distribute the sealant evenly, then drive slowly for 5 minutes before returning to highway speeds. 1 batch treats a single passenger tire. A full 4-tire treatment costs under $8 and takes 45 minutes. Compare that to 4 road hazard plans at $60 to $80 per tire, $320 total, for coverage that still requires a service center visit, a waiting room, and a deductible on the replacements they quietly exclude from the fine print. Your grandfather did not pay for roadside assistance. He did not buy run-flat upgrades or road hazard plans. He understood that a vehicle was a mechanical system, and that mechanical systems respond to preparation, not to warranties. The trucking foremen who discovered this formula in the 1940s were not scientists. They were working people with tight budgets and zero tolerance for downtime. They mixed this in coffee cans on loading docks and injected it with hand pumps before sending drivers out on routes crossing 3 states without a service station in sight. It worked for them on diesel trucks hauling freight across unpaved roads in 1951. It works today on your commute. The tire industry did not bury this formula because the chemistry was flawed. They buried it because the chemistry was perfect. Because a tire that never goes flat is a tire that never needs an emergency replacement. Because a driver who never gets stranded never calls a tow truck. Because a vehicle owner spending $8 every 4 years never spends $320 on a warranty plan designed by the same company selling the tire it supposedly protects. The math is simple. The formula is simple. The only complicated part was making certain you never learned either one. Now you have learned both. If this vault opens something for you, subscribe and share it with one driver you know who has been stranded by a flat tire. Every share is money that stays in a real person's pocket instead of going to a tire chain service counter. The next vault opens soon. What is buried inside it is heavier than anything you heard today.